Hey there. Today I'm going to show you 3 booty busting moves to give you a well-developed, gravity-defying booty. Now let's face it, who doesn't want that? But first, I want to give a shout out to my location sponsor, PhysioFit. This is a studio called PhysioFit in Nashville, owned by Brandy Binkley. You want to check them out at getphysiofit.com. She's got some great personal training as well as group fitness classes. So again, getphysiofit.com. Now we're going to jump right into our first booty busting exercise, the squat. Now, starting off, you want to keep your feet about shoulder width apart, slightly open, toes slightly open, kind of like a duck, okay? And your knees are going to point in the same direction as your toes when you're doing the squat. So if you find your knees starting to bow in, you want to correct that and pull them out, okay? So hip, knees, and toes all pointing in the same direction. So profile view, it'll be a little easier to see this. When you squat, you want to sit back like you're going to sit down, lean your torso forward, knees stay behind the toes, okay? And when you drive up, you're driving up through your heels. You never want to see your weight shifting toward your toes like that. So you don't want to come off your heels, you don't want the weight on the balls of your feet because that puts too much work in your knees and takes it away from the booty and actually the hip joint where most of the muscle is, and it's a bigger joint, so it's made to facilitate that work. But as you can see, I've put a bench behind me. So for those of you starting out, you're not sure about the balance of this, put a bench or do it in front of a chair, something that will catch you if you go back. Now, don't sit on it for the squat. Just come back, come close to it. So if you need to fall back to it, you can, but that's not what you want to teach yourself to do. You want to teach yourself to keep your balance. Now, again, as I said, you're starting out, start with body weight, lean forward, maybe keep your hands out in front to help with the balance because your upper body is counterweighting the booty going back. And you're supporting your spine, keeping your chest up, shoulders up, not upright like this, not trying to sit straight up, because that's going to make your knees go forward, isn't it? Throw you off your balance, you're not going to get the booty busting. Hips go back, lean forward, but still keeping a supported spine. And that's going to allow you to load your squat a little bit of weight. Okay, so you can hold the weight here, you can also hold it down here, kind of to simulate picking something up off the ground. But the same rules apply. You want to support your spine, okay? And this is going to help engage more core muscles because you're loading your upper body. You have to use the core to support the spine a little bit more. Hip still goes back, knees stay behind the toes. Drive up through the heels to make sure you're getting that work in the hips and not the knees. All right, on to our next booty busting exercise, the lunge. Now I'm going to move this bench out of our way so we don't need that. So lunges mimic the squat. Of course, they're on one leg at a time. So let's start with a reverse lunge, body weight only. Get that form down, get the balance down before you start adding weight. So reverse lunge is probably the easiest to learn first, and it really does help. It's easier to get the booty activated. So stepping back, very little weight on this back foot, all the weight on this front leg. Same rules apply though as the squat. Hip goes back, torso leans forward, your weight's over that leg, and you're driving up through the heel so the knee stays behind the toe. You do not want to roll onto the ball of your foot like that and have your heel come up. If you're doing that, reassess, focus on driving through the heel, and think about flexing the booty, okay? Make that mind to muscle connection, mind to booty connection, okay? Flex that glute on the way up, drive through your heel, so you start getting that firing in the right order, okay? Then switch legs. So you're looking for sets of, 8 to maybe 15. 15 gets easy. You need to increase the weight, increase the workload a little bit, right? So we do that by holding on to some dumbbells, okay? They're gonna be a little lighter than what you did with squats, maybe. At least one in each hand. And you can step back, holding the dumbbells next to you while you do the reverse lunge. You can also do a forward lunge. Now this makes it a little more difficult to get to the glute. Now the glute's definitely firing if you do it correctly. I'm just saying the form is a little more difficult to keep it there because the tendency when you step forward is to roll under the ball of your foot and let your heel come up. We don't want to do that, okay? Now step forward, keep that heel planted and drive back through the heel, okay? You are going to get a little more quad work on this than you do on the reverse. And then you would switch. So I say you can alternate these. You can alternate, do right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. But to start off, if you're not used to these, focus on one leg at a time. Just keep your stability and get your form down. The walking lunge is another big favorite. And I say that sarcastically because everyone groans when I say, walking lunges. They're not as excited as I am. So stepping forward, come down, push through the heel, bring that leg up, step forward with the next leg, drive up through the heel. Once again, knee stays behind the toe, torso leans forward, as you've seen. All right? Same idea. Okay. Now, for those of you who maybe have some issues with getting your glutes to fire, maybe your quads tend to develop quite a bit when you do leg exercises, but the glute doesn't really fire like it's supposed to, doesn't really develop. It may be a little flat, maybe gravity is, having a very negative effect on it. You might have something called sleepy glutes if you tend to sit a lot, all right? That can tighten up the hip flexors, so it brings the hips forward. That shortens up the muscle in the lower back, which can cause back pain. When you actually start to use it, you reach for something, it overstretches because it's gotten so tight, okay? But it also stretches out the glutes, which means, and flattens them out. They don't really fire so well, okay? So a great way to re-engage them, okay, if you're having issue with doing leg exercises and not really getting there, okay, is a hip extension or a bridge. So I'm going to show you this first on the floor. Flat on the floor, and then we'll use a step. But you want to lay on the floor with knees bent, push through your heels, extend straight up, okay? So push straight up through, stretching out the hip flexors here, the muscle in front. You do not want to overarch the back, so you're not trying to get to this by arching your back. Some of you very tight hip flexors, your tendency is going to be to arch your back up to try to get more range. We want to focus here. So flexing the glute, think about flexing the glute, extend the hip up, stretch this out, okay? And then come back down, touch the floor. Hover over the floor. Do not rest on the floor. Keep the tension up in this exercise. Now, you also move to the step, give yourself a little more range of motion. Push your heels, again, pushing through your heels, not your balls of your feet. Extend straight up, stretch as much as you can. Come down, touch the floor, or hover just over it. You get the idea. Just gives you a little more range of motion with a short step. You don't need a real high one. This is maybe 10, 12 inches off the ground is enough, okay? Now, when those get easy, go to a single leg. Again, make sure you can get at least, 12, 15 of the two legs before you go to a single leg. And this you might start off getting like 6 or 8 and extend straight up. It might be a little harder to extend up, but that's what you want to do. So do your set and then switch legs. See that? Definitely booty busting. Now, as I said, if you have an issue where you think, maybe your glutes are a little sleepy, okay? They don't fire like they should. You don't feel them working during your leg exercises like they should be. You may want to start with this one, okay? Wake them up, get the nerves firing. Think about flexing while you're doing the exercise. So focus on flexing the glutes, wake them up, get them firing, like I said, and then go to your squats and your lunges. If that's not really an issue, start with your heaviest exercise and work down to your lighter. So start with your squat, work to your lunge, and then to your hip extension. So those are your 3 booty busting exercises. Get to work. As you can see, you can do them almost anywhere. You just need a flat surface, really, and maybe a couple dumbbells. And you can start getting the booty you've always wanted. Talk to you later.